Good morning, Central Texas. Welcome to Kids Community Connections. I'm Phyllis Jones, your host, and I'm not the guest this week either. This time I actually have a guest, and we're going to talk to him in a few minutes. But first, we're going to talk about a couple other things. One, we're going to spend a minute on the virus. Just a minute, because we've been talking about it too much. Not that it's not bad, but I don't want to talk about it no more. But what I want to say is, right now in Bell County, a task force has been formed, and the task force job will be to gather the information about African Americans and Hispanics, because as we know, the claim is that more Hispanics have the virus than anybody, more blacks have the virus than anybody else, and Hispanics are trailing behind. But if you ask Bell County for numbers, they can't find them, they can't get them, but they still say we're the highest. So we're going to check on that. The task force will check on that. Also, in Killeen, on the north side of Killeen, there's no testing site. None. Everything's on the south side of Killeen. North side, sorry, no tests. So the task force will contact the National Guard, make an appointment to see if testing can be done on that side of Killeen. And in Belton, it's going to be a testing site there because they have a underserved area in Belton. And in Temple, the east side of Temple is the underserved area, and there's no testing done there. So the task force will seek to get testing done in those areas, because if we're the ones with the highest numbers, then test us. Test us. It makes sense to me. Just test us. Test everybody. But if we are the ones, they should get tested. And we know we are the highest because if we did finally read in the news in Temple newspaper that we did have the highest numbers. And I'll say we have the highest numbers because of one, we're the least likely to go to the doctor. We're the least likely to take care of our health. We only take care of our health when it gets to that tragic state where a doctor says you do or don't, and then you go, oh my gosh, I got to do something. And some of it's not our fault. It's due to circumstances and things we can't control. But we're the ones who don't take good care of our health and don't have proper health care. We're also the ones that you're going to call your friend before you go to the doctor. And if your friends say you don't need to go, then somehow or another their friends becomes whatever, and you don't go. You don't get anything. Right now, I know some people who look like us who probably are sick and they're not going to the doctor because they heard something negative, or they heard that the test is this, they heard this, and we're too busy listening to other people than sometimes taking care of ourselves. So we're going to see that some of the test sites are on the right sides of town where they need to be. Now, I'm also tell you this. If you look at Brad Buckley, I'll say his name, and one of the commissioners, if you look at their Facebook post, and I do, they'll tell you all the good things and all the happy things and all that. Well, they don't tell you the other part. And I'll tell you this. It's a lady I know. She's a senior citizen. She has the health issues, which such as diabetes and high blood pressure, which puts you in a danger zone. So you figure 3 times she's in a danger zone because she's a senior citizen, high blood pressure, diabetes. She wasn't feeling very well. So May 1st, listen to me now, May 1st, she goes to the doctor. She gets a test, and the doctor tells her to go home for 48 hours. Okay, I didn't understand that. What's the 48 hours? It's supposed to be 14 days. What's 48 hours? So since I'm not a doctor, she listened to the doctors for 48 hours. She stayed at home, which was a Saturday and Sunday. She stayed in the house. She was all right, but she stayed in the house. So after the 48 hours up that Monday, she was gone. She was out. She was out. She doesn't wear a mask because she said the mask makes her not hyperventilate. And, you don't want that. So she told the doctors that she didn't wear a mask because she hyperventilated. And he go, okay, fine. Okay, so just remember, May 1st. Well, today is May 10th, Sunday. And guess what? She still hasn't heard about her test yet. She still hasn't heard about her test. Now, one, she's fine because she has no more symptoms. So she's fine. But what if she wasn't fine? What if she has had the virus? So she went out of her house. 48 hours, she only had to stay in the house. That's all he told her. So she did that. But let's say she had the virus. Because Monday, she was at Sam's. She was at Sam's Monday. She went to the PX on Tuesday. She went on by her little life. She would have infected how many people? How many people would she have infected? Now, those of us who think because she's an African-American female, that's the answer you gave her, whatever. Nothing big, nothing, no 14 days, none of that. But he told her, 48 hours, you can go outside. You can go. You're good. She sat and wear a mask. You go, okay, that's fine. that wasn't the right answers to give her. We all know those were wrong. We know those were wrong. She should have stayed in 14 days. And I tell you, she took the test on the 1st. It takes 3 to 4 days to get the answer back. And today is Sunday the 10th. She doesn't know. She doesn't know. So that lets you know that's a mistreatment. That lets us actually document the fact that that's how she was treated. I won't say what hospital she went to, because I can't say that. But it was a hospital in Bell County, and it wasn't in Temple. So I'll give you that. That's all I'm going to say. It was a hospital in Bell County, but it wasn't Temple. So I think you can narrow down to most likely where she went. But that's what happened to her. And before we move on, what I want everybody to do is this. If you know any senior citizens, call them. See how they're doing. I didn't say have an hour-long conversation and all that. Just say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Ask them the second question. Got enough food? If they don't, take your little behind down to the food care center and get them a box and bring it to them. Seriously, it's free. You're not spending nothing but some gas. But call your senior citizens that you do know and ask them how they're doing. And also, if you know you have friends who are sickly, and they are, call them. Say how you doing. Because with this virus, it's too scary. We have too many people that are dying at home because they're hard-headed, and I can speak for that because I would be the hard-headed one. I would be the one to tell you I'm just fine and dying. That would be me. It would be me. Sad to say it, but it's me. I'm hard-headed. But call them up anyway. See how they're doing. You don't have to call them every day, but just call them because it's time for us to become one community, not a divided community like we are right now. We're really divided. It's time for us to stop that and be one community and actually get this done and take care of each other because we know who we are and where we stand with the rest of the world. We know. So since we do know, we need to call and make those phone calls, check on people, check on senior citizens because they are our fragile leaders. But check on your friends who you know are sickly. We all have friends that we know if the flu is going around, they're going to get it twice. We know. So call them up and just say, hey, how you doing? And so that's my thing on that. Now, next, I'm moving into my guests. I'm not going to say all police officers, but we have some police officers that are pitifully ashamed. And some of our police officers are becoming who police officers became being in the beginning. So I'm going to give you a little history in case you don't know. Police officers, when they were formed first, their jobs was to catch slaves. That was their job, to catch slaves. Kill them or whatever they had to do, but their job was to catch slaves. That's it. That's all police were formed to do. That's it. Nothing else. So to me, some of our police officers are going back to those days, to the reason they were formed. That was actually to annihilate us, to catch those slaves who think they're going to get free. Now some of our cops are doing the same thing. We're being shot, hunted. It's shame today because a black man, and I'm saying black men, it's not just all black men, but most black men now have to wake up in the morning and wonder, are they going to return to their bed at night? Our men shouldn't have to live that way. They should not have to wake up in the morning and go, man, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there. They don't need to worry about anything else other than I'm going here, I'm going there, and I'm coming home. Nope. They have to worry about I'm going here, I'm going there. Am I going to get stopped today? They have to worry about if they see a police lights flying down the street, the first thing they're going to do is see, am I going speed? They're going to look at their dot, see if they're speeding. If they're not, they're like, shh. If the car go past, men take a breath. And they take a breath of relief because it's not them this time. Well, no one should have to live like that, but our men shouldn't. And it's now rapidly going on. I mean, it is. And like I said, so police are going back to who they were when they started. They hunted slaves. Well, we're not slaves now. Same thing. We're still African Americans. And we're being hunted. We found out the other day about the young man who got hunted by neighbors. I mean, some people who lived on the street. Really? They thought he was this, thought he was that, and he got shot for no reason. Last night, a young man got shot, but the police didn't know that they were Facebook Live. But he got shot. So how much police brutality do we end up taking? When do we stop it? Because we can stop it pretty well. We can do it. If we unite, we put some pressure on some people, and we can actually stop what's going on. Not stop it forever, but we can begin to stop it because as long as we do nothing, it's going to continue. And it's going to continue more because what are we saying? Nothing. Now, for us here in Bell County, I look at Facebook because Facebook is a lot of where some of my shows come from Facebook because if that's a going conversation, I'm like, okay, that's a good topic. So I watch it. You know, we've had some things happen in our county to some of our men, and we've done nothing. But when something is somewhere else, we got something to say. All these shootings that's outside of our area, we got something to say. Oh, man, we mad, we upset. If this happened here, okay, it did. It did. Because the first time it happened here, something noticed, it was on May the 9th, 2014. It was in the morning, 5 o'clock. Killeen Police Department decided that there was this big drug dealer that they said they were going to go and, bust him out, not come in his house, take the drugs, because they had him. They had him. They knew they had this. So the police gangbuster, no knock into somebody's house, and it was Marvin Guy. And when they did break into his house, and I'll say break in because I think that's what a no knock is, but when they did the no knock on his house, he did what any other person would do. He decided to defend his house because you do have a right to defend your property. You have a right to defend yourself. When somebody comes in your house, you got a right to make sure they either get out your house real fast or they feel some pain because they broke into your house. So when they did a no-knock on his house, he didn't lay there to say, okay, let me think, is this the police or is it a friend of mine? No, you don't have time for that. You got time to react. And your time, in your nature of your reaction is what you do. So when they gangbusted into Marvin's house, he was shooting and they were shooting. But I'm going to say this. And then I have his brother on here this morning, too. This is his second time his brother's been on the show, but first time at this station.
Well, good morning. Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Okay, now, in the shooting, because, Phyllis has to have more answers than that, because I have 50 questions. So what I found out was on the floor, there were 57 shell casings. 57, right? 57. Just listen. So Marvin is a hell of a shot because, according to them, out of the 57, 2 were Marvin's. 2. And with those 2, he managed to kill a police officer and wound one in the knee. The other 55 shell casings were on the floor. They didn't hit anything. So at that point, I was like, I hope the Killeen Police Department never has to protect me. And Marvin's a good shot in the dark. Because they're saying that out of all those, he did 2, and they shot nobody. So if you got police who shot 55 times and nobody got hit, something happened in that house. Those numbers don't add up. I don't know about you, but those numbers in my head don't add up because police are supposed to be pretty good shots. Pretty good. I'm not going to say the best, but they're supposed to be pretty good. So I didn't get that. Now, all the drugs they found in his house was a pipe. That's all they found. So, the big trash bag and all that stuff that they thought they would be, they didn't. None of that was there. None of that was there. So that morning, we're going to talk to Garrett, his brother. So how did you feel that morning? I mean, I'll put it this way. You went to sleep that night thinking the morning was going to be all right.
Oh, well, I woke up early to a phone call saying that Marvin had been in a shootout with the police and it's ongoing at that moment. And I could actually hear the police hollering in the background. Actually, I could still hear some shots ringing out. So when I called over there, it had just happened. And I'm thinking the worst, but I'm hoping for the best.
Right.
And I'm saying, oh my goodness, I know dealing with the police and being black, a lot of times you don't come out alive.
Right.
So I'm just fortunate that he was alive and able to, still be here and talk to me today.
But, okay, so I'll put it in your I'm going to ask you your opinion because we don't know because we weren't there. I'm going back to the shell casings because I can't get past that.
Yeah.
Well, I can get past that, but it's a little much. The 57 shell casings and 2 belong to your brother and 55 belong to the police officers. In your head, how did that add up?
Well, I tell you, it reminded me of like Harlem Nights, where they're doing all this shooting and missing, and then like when Eddie Murphy took the 3 shots, and all 3 people were killed. But I'm just glad that Marvin tried to defend himself. He did what any average person would do.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone come in my house, I'm not stopping to ask questions. I'm gonna shoot and ask questions later, and that's exactly what he did. I don't think he did anything wrong.
True.
He didn't do nothing wrong. I think those police could have handled themselves a little different. They could have waited on him outside, waited till he come out, then make an arrest or whatever. But just to bust in under the assumption that there's drugs, that's crazy. That's putting everyone's lives at risk. And I just think it was wrong. The whole thing was just totally botched and not done correctly. They did not do what they was told. And plus, just taking someone's word and not knowing for sure that the drugs and stuff was there, that's irresponsible.
And also
That's irresponsible.
the informant that they had gave them the wrong diagram of the apartment.
Now, what if it was the wrong house?
There you go.
What if it was the wrong house and you
That's
bust
it.
in there and you kill a bunch of people,
Yep.
innocent people? So they just did it wrong. They just did it wrong. And I think it's bad that Marvin had to sit in jail. He's been in there over 6 years. Over 6 years, he calls me every week and tells me he's innocent, that he didn't shoot nobody. They shot each other. And I can believe that. 55 shots, and he shoot 2 times and he knock them both down.
That's it.
Come
yeah.
on, that's not right. That's not right.
I know it sounds like the Wild Wild West with Sammy Davis Jr. But how's his spirits right now?
I'm optimistic. Some days are better than the other. When it's all said and done, I would hate to see something happen to my brother. But I'm here for him every step of the way. I listen to him every week, and I hear him out. And if something was to happen to where he, wouldn't be here, I'd probably be devastated. I'd probably be devastated because I know that he did what any logical human being would have done. He didn't do anything wrong.
Nope.
So I don't know. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy 6 years. He needs justice.
That's true. Now, I'm going to ask you a question okay, he's not your brother, all right? But you're a black male. So why don't you think other black men now in Bell County aren't standing up for Marvin?
Well, I think it's because it just haven't gotten out. I mean, the word, no one's really putting it out. No one's,
Right.
We're not marching. We're not doing anything. Some of the people around here now probably don't even know about that shooting that day. And I feel like they've been waiting, putting this off so that the community can forget about it.
True.
So they can forget all about it. But I think no one's saying anything because no one know anything.
Okay, so since I've never met Marvin on the outside. When I met Marvin, he was already there. And to me, once I read what was out there at the first time, then I went to find out anywhere else in Texas that happened because I needed to know. I mean, I knew about No Knocks, but I never heard about any around here. So I went to check. And 2 weeks before Marvin's, it's a man in San Antonio who happens to be white. Same thing. They did a no-knock on his house. He shot and killed a police officer. Yes, they arrested him. But that night, they let him go.
Oh, yeah. I've seen
He
that.
got to go home.
White privilege. It's white privilege, And I've seen that, and the difference of your skin color makes the difference of the outcome, and that's ridiculous. It shouldn't be that way.
Right.
But it's been crazy, and I feel like whites are feeling more emboldened by the national leadership that's given, and national leadership tell them that's okay. It's okay to shoot a black man. If a white man, okay, we're gonna make sure that you get proper representation and get off. But a black man, they don't want to give you nothing. They don't want to give you the fair opportunity to free yourself. It's just ridiculous.
Okay, so I know one person, just one, who, and I'm gonna say his name is John Crow, and most of us know him as John Crow. But his name is John Miller, but we know him as Crow. He's the only one that I know that every now and then will ask me, did he miss something? Because he watches. So he'll ask me, did he miss anything? Because he was assuming that he missed something. You know, he said, I missed something. What did I miss? When did it happen? I'm like, when did what happen? He says, well, when was the trial? I missed it somehow. I said, you missed it because it doesn't exist. There was no trial. So he's been thinking that something happened, but he missed it. So he went on a search. You know, he's searching all the newspapers, and he said, I didn't find nothing. So to him, he missed something. And when I told him no, he's still there, he was like, for real, seriously, okay, I got to come on your show. He did. Him and Nancy Feaster, because she writes Marvin. They both came on the show, and they talked about it from their perspective. And even John Crow, he goes, so why are we not doing anything? I told him, I don't know. You know, I told him, I said, you know what, I don't know. I said, but the bad part is we're all capable of doing something. So I told him, I said, well, my something is I write Marvin, and I talk about it on my show, you know. And I said, and every now and then I put something on Facebook, see what tracking do I get. I put it on Facebook yesterday, and I think you read it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And one lady said she knew nothing about it. She was a doctor. She knew nothing about it. I was like, and I'm thinking, where was she at? Because she was here at that time. So I'm thinking, where is she? You know, where was she? What was she doing? Because she wasn't, you know, she didn't know. So I'm like, okay, she was in Killeen at that time, but where was she at? You know, I'm like, where, because she keeps up with what's going on, but she missed that completely.
Well, I just think we got to get out there a little bit more, and me included. You know, I just got to get out there and start doing more posts, more radio shows and stuff like that, and getting the word out. But I think right now is the time that we get together and start fighting for Marvin. You know, Marvin doesn't trust his legal defense because he feel like they're working hand in hand with the DA. Which in a lot of cases, you know, we don't trust the justice system because we have not gotten the right justice. So, you know, and it costs money. It costs money, and I don't have the money to pay for big time attorneys like that. But I just think we just need to come together, and maybe we can figure something out and move forward from here.
Whatever you decide to do, let me know.
Oh, I will.
Because I'm a fighter. And
definitely will.
I know how to fight fair. It's not easy for me to fight fair. I'm telling you, it's not. It is not. Because, yes, because I'm that person. Okay, like the shooting with the guy on TV, they showed the video yesterday. Mm-hmm. Well, I can only watch the video once. I am the one, if I watch it the next day, if I watch it twice, people who don't look like me will pay for that.
Oh, it makes you mad. It makes you mad when you see stuff like that.
But it puts me into I'm the one who's going to go, some person who doesn't look like me is going to say good morning, and I'm going to tell you don't have the right to ask me. I am. I'm going to get whoever it is like me. I'm not going to be just look at them. You know, my mouth will open and I will say something to them just because that's me. So that video, I looked at it once. I couldn't look at it no more because
it's tough.
It's
tough to look at.
Yes, because, you know, I want to go and do the same thing in a truck like those men did. But the people won't look like me. So that did anger me. But my still thing is this. Yes, Marvin's been there for 6 years. Yes, we've been, I don't say we, but some, have been like a days ago because we haven't did anything about it. We haven't said anything about it. We didn't do a letter writing campaign. You know, I'm the one, I'll write a letter and email it to you every day if I've got to, just to get justice done, however I need to do it. So I am that one. So you, the brother who lives here.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, Marvin told me he didn't want me to do anything. He didn't want them to talk to me. He didn't want me to speak out about a lot of stuff. He didn't want no one to get involved.
Yeah, but you don't have to listen to him.
But you're right. I think right now is the time that you got to stand together and do something for him, you know. He may not like it right now, but he'll probably like it in the future. But I got to do something, because staying silent is getting nowhere.
No.
It's been 6 years. We haven't done nothing. No one knows what happened. You know, there's people, you can mention Marvin Guy, and they probably say, who was that?
There you go.
You know, you can mention a no-knock warrant, no-knock raid that happened, and they'll say that I haven't heard about it.
Right.
You know, but so, yeah, I think I got to do more of getting out there and making sure that people understand what happened was wrong. The police was wrong. The protocol was wrong. But they're so used to covering up for each other and putting an innocent person in jail. They'll put an innocent person in jail under their mistakes. And that's what I think happened. I think, you know, when they busted in and started shooting and didn't find any drugs, you know, so and then they did the ballistics and say, oh, the shot that killed the police officer came from Marvin's gun. That's how do we know that? How do we know that they didn't switch that information around? So many inconsistencies happen in his case to where they can easily frame him. And, you know, police probably been doing that for years, where they'll protect their own. All we got is a black man here. We're going to set him up. He's going to take the fall for this murder. That police probably got shot by his own men.
Of course. Because the 55 shell casings, did they shoot in the ceiling?
And it is crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I got footage on my phone where I took a video picture of that house where those bullets hit. I still have it on my phone. So, you know, I think that could be some interesting stuff when the case actually happens.
But it can be interesting now. I mean, as well as, yes, when the case, but it can be interesting now, because right now, okay, I posted it yesterday. Then I looked at, John Crow posted it later. And then he used to be our assistant principal years ago, Mr. Tom Jones. He posted it later.
Right.
So yesterday, after I did it, 2 more people did it, because I'm like, wow, they did it too. So.
Well, you know, I didn't want to put no information that could come up and bite him in the end. So, you know, I don't have legal representation either. So I don't want to do something and be stupid and put it on Facebook and it be some a very good crucial piece to his case. So, you know,
but for you can put the word out about, such as, okay, I put the article out there, then I put a part out. You can continue the articles.
Okay.
You can, because there's been more than one article. I just went back to the first one because it's sad to say it's the anniversary of it happening, so, which was Saturday. But I went out there and I put the first one out.
Yes.
So you might post the second article that was in the paper, and you still talk about it. You remind people that you're his brother, that you're here.
That's right.
And then you let somebody else tag in and say, okay, well, if he's doing this one, I'm going to do one.
Right.
Because when people forget, we as a society, we forget who everybody is. Hold on one second. Good morning.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great.
So what I'm going to do is let you talk right now.
Okay.
Hey, Pastor Nick, this is Garrett Galloway, Marvin's brother. How you doing?
I'm well, brother. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good. Just sitting up here talking to Miss Phyllis.
Yes, absolutely. An awesome opportunity to speak the truth about Marvin's situation.
Yes.
Get the word out about the injustice that's been done to him.
So how did you become interested in Marvin's case?
So what actually happened is I was watching, this was back in March of 2016.
Wow.
And I was watching a video on YouTube about the unjust police shooting of a young black male named Jonathan Farrell in North Carolina in 2013. And so someone left a comment about Marvin's case in the comment section. So I said, okay, let me take a look at this. So I did a Google search, and I found a petition for Marvin about getting him justice. It no longer exists. But I looked into his case. So I read the petition, and I did more research beyond that. And I said, oh, man, this is unjust. I have to do something about it. Now, I'm an amateur documentary filmmaker,
Okay.
so I said, well, one thing I can make a difference is I can make a video about it. So I made about a 10-minute video about his case, based on what I knew about it at the time. So the little information I had to go off of based on articles I had read, which was enough for me to make a video. But I've learned a lot since then. So I made this video just to get the word out about the injustice that he had experienced. And one of the things I emphasized was the contrast between his case and the case of a man named Henry McGee, which parallels Marvin's case, that took place in December of 2013, 5 months prior to the raid on Marvin's apartment and then his unjust arrest. And from there, some time went by, and again, this all took place in March of 2016. So I found out about it and made the video within that month. And so some time went by, and I said, you know what? I want to do more than just make this video. I want to reach out to Marvin. So I ended up connecting with Marvin through a friend of mine on Facebook. By the grace of God, how it happened was amazing. So she put me in touch with him. And again, he can only call out. You can't call him. So so what happened is I found out where he was jailed, and I sent him a letter. And it was about 2 or 3 weeks later, I got a letter in return, and then he called me. And this all took place in September of 2016. So we spoke for the first time in September of 2016. And then from there, he would call sporadically, and we weren't able, because we really wanted to start recording his calls and getting them out for people to hear his side of the story, to go against the propaganda that has been created about his guilt. And so we weren't able to do that for a while, but then finally in June of 2018, he called, and what had happened, the reason we weren't communicating via mail is because they started tampering with his mail, and so anything that was sent to him, he wouldn't get. He could send stuff out, not consistently, but he was able to get some stuff out, but you couldn't get stuff to him, and so it was a situation where you were very limited in being able to communicate with him. And between the first time we spoke in September of 2015 and June of 2018, we didn't talk, but and he called more than the amount of time we talked. It's just he would call and my phone would be off, or I wouldn't be expecting it, so I maybe have the ringer down, or I wouldn't have it on me or something like that. But finally, in June of 2018, he called. He had enough time on his phone card. He actually had multiple phone cards, and I had the time, and so we were finally able to record a conversation. And ever since then, for almost the last 2 years, I've recorded several calls from Marvin. I've posted them up on his website, freemarvinlguy.com, and on his Facebook page, Free Marvin Lewis Guy. So people can check those out there. Everything Marvin has to say, and it's very, very powerful. Hearing what he experienced from his perspective, from his point of view, which is validated by the statements of the police officers in Marvin's case file, which is also on the Facebook page and the website that people can check out.
I've been looking at, I looked at the first video that you did. That was on YouTube?
Yes, ma'am.
I looked at that one, and I watched them all, actually, and I did share them. But like me and Garrett was saying, that we need to do more, because we have a community. Right. We have a community that some didn't know, and then we have a community that's left since then. So we were talking about something. We need to do something here to make a stronger statement.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's more I can do as well. There's more that everyone can do.
Yes.
I'm definitely convicted about that. There are people contacting people that Marvin has asked me to get in touch with. He sent me, I did get a number of documents, a lawsuit that Marvin filed, and also a letter from him, which, one second, I'm sorry, which is very powerful. And I just posted the letter and those documents on both the Facebook page and the website, so people can check out all that. And the website is under the document page. So you just go to freemarvinlguy.com and you click on documents at the top, the link at the top of the page, and you'll see actually the letter, and you'll see that the lawsuit. And so he wants me to get in touch with a number of people. In the letter he sent me, on the back of the letter, he listed a name of a specific Texas civil rights attorney that he wants me to reach out to. And also he gave me the information, so let me just see it, for the Texas Civil Rights Project. I'm going to be reaching out to them.
You mean the Innocence Project?
It says the name of it is the Texas Civil Rights Project, so I don't know if it has anything to do with the Innocence Project. I think this is a different entity, but I'm not sure. I just found out about them. I did quickly go on their website just to make sure the address was correct, the address and even the phone number, and it is. So I'm going to be giving them a call and also, sending whatever I have to them to hopefully, as Marvin said in his letter, to get someone to bite. Reach out to as many people as possible, and hopefully someone who finds out about a situation will want to step up to the plate and help him finally receive justice and freedom.
The letter that you send out to someone and for Marvin. Okay, in my other life that I live, I'm the state education chair for Texas State NAACP. So I myself, I file civil rights cases quite often, and I use the Innocence Project because the Innocence Project are the ones who get people out of jail. When you hear this person's been freed and you never hear a lawyer's name, it's the Innocence Project that does that. When you send a letter to the Innocence Project, it works better if you put your name and who you are on there, and not just not your first and last name. But if you have pastor, reverend, or president of, those letters get faster. And the Civil Rights Project, I work with them too because I testified in court with them, the same thing. So, but some of the letters that you write them to help Marvin has to come from Marvin,
right,
or his family,
absolutely.
Or his brother can write it because he is his blood relative. So so for you to write it and you're in New York, it doesn't have much weight. You see what I mean? You don't have, because they go like, he over there. He not even here. So I'm not saying don't write them, but I know how the weight carries when you do write them.
Absolutely. Yeah, and every letter that I've sent out, I contacted the House for Renewed Hope. I've contacted several other entities or organizations, and I've always, when I was a minister, I always put that down. I always made sure people know I was a minister, the name of my ministry,
right.
And I'm a pastor, do the same thing. So I always make sure people know that, because it may add more weight to or significance to the letter, and it to help Marvin. So yeah, I always make sure to identify myself, my title, and everything else. So
yeah, because they pay more attention. I hate that, but they pay more attention to a title or family association. They pay attention to that because that becomes real. But when you send it as you're just you, they're like, yeah, right, okay, fine.
Got you. Yeah, definitely. That definitely makes sense. But the more the merrier, with Garrett being his family member, and then for Marvin and myself, the combination, and others, yourself maybe, and other people, that'll be even more powerful, and I think we'll have a better chance of getting a positive reception from someone. And like Marvin said, he's better get someone to bite on this and be willing to help him. But what I wanted to say, do you have any questions, man? I've been doing just going over like the case file, and I did want to talk about just things that I read in the case file according to the police reports,
Right.
that I think are quite damning towards the police. And if you'd like me to talk about that, or I can play the video, because I have a really powerful video that from Marvin. It's one of the last videos we recorded, and he talks about a lot of important information.
How long is the video? How long is it?
It's 14 minutes. I don't have to play the entire thing. But
Okay.
That's one of the videos that I have.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We're ready.
Do that real quick. No, that's not the one. Okay. Go to the Facebook page real quick.
And Garrett's gonna write a letter to the Innocence Project.
Okay. And Pastor Nick, I appreciate everything that you do. I haven't had many people in Marvin's corner, and I appreciate everything that you do.
Well, I'm happy to do it by the grace of God, to be there for him. I'm going to fight until he receives justice and freedom, and I know it's going to happen.
And I really appreciate
that.
that.
We just have to keep fighting, keep getting the truth out there, and eventually the truth will win out, and he's going to get out. So we just have to find the video, one specific video. Not the one either.
To send to the Innocence Project, you basically have everything.
On the Innocence Project?
To send them, yeah, you do. You just need to send them a copy of that booklet you have, not all of it, but most of it, and then they work.
Did I keep a copy of that?
Yes.
I think I gave all that to Marvin. But it shouldn't be no problem with me coming up with that information again. But when I made that book,
right,
I spent hours making that book.
Yes, you did.
And not just hours. I spent days because I made a lot.
That was a book.
And I gave it to Marvin. I sent it, and I'm sure they probably went in and took out what they wanted to take out.
Of course.
But maybe I do still have it. I don't know. I gotta look.
I had to change my letters to him because I realized one letter he didn't get because he didn't answer the next one. So I put my title on his letter so now he gets them. I'm like, for real, I gotta do this to get it. I'm like, okay. So I put Phyllis Jones, Texas State Indo. He got those.
Okay, so here's the video. Let me play it for you.
Okay.
Can you hear that?
Not good. But you know what I'll do? Because it might not play well because it's playing over two. Oh.
You can look that up.
No, he got disconnected. What I'm going to do, for everybody, the videos that Pastor Nick has, what I'm going to do is put them on my Facebook page, my Community Connections Facebook page, so that we can hear them and you can hear it when you want to and when you need to. So you're back?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry about that.
No, what I was saying, what I'm saying, I just announced it on the radio. I'm going to take the videos that you have and put them on my Community Connections station Facebook page.
Wonderful.
Because that would be easier, then people can listen to it in its entirety. Because when you're playing it over or something that's played over like twice, it became like gobbledygook. So I'll put it that way, and then people can actually listen to it.
Right. That's great. And that's the number 19 video in particular that people, every one of the videos you want to tune into, but the video I was going to play is number 19. He summarizes the situation, the challenges he's facing very effectively. So number 19, that's the one I was going to play. But I have videos that deal with, just a whole host of things, anything you can imagine. And on the website, if you go to freemarvinlguy.com,
right,
all the videos that I've recorded are on there.
Okay.
If you go there, video link, bam, you can check out every video. Marvin talking about the no-knock raid, talking about police corruption, talking about the corruption of his attorneys, The video visitation call I did with Marvin, everything is there. Marvin, he made an appeal for good legal representation. That's there as well. So check out all those videos. Easier than going to the Facebook page. Although support the Facebook page, share it if you're able to.
Yes, I can't do that.
Share the website, share the videos, because it's just so powerful. And if people want to support his campaign financially, in terms of legal defense fund, I created a legal defense fund that you can find on the website. It's right on the homepage, and you can donate that way if you feel so led to do that. Keep Marvin in your prayers, please. He's a man of faith. He knows that the Lord is in control, and he's not afraid. The last time I talked to him was over 2 weeks ago, and he said, God is in control. This is a fight. This is a battle. We're in it for the long run, and I know justice is going to happen. This is what he was saying, and we just got to stick with it. And I said, of course, absolutely, the Lord is in control, and things are going to shake out the way they're supposed to, but you're going to get justice and freedom finally. It's going to happen, just in the right time. So, but yeah, the resources, there's a lot of good information that, and like the documentary film I made, and then just a bunch of other stuff you can find there. Great articles exposing the corruption around the situation. Everything can be found on his website. So you can find his Facebook page through the website.
Right.
You can find, you can purchase a T-shirt that I made that Marvin wanted me to make, and that I was happy to make. It says Free Marvin Lewis Guy, ! Hashtag Free Marvin Lewis Guy, and then victim of a no-knock raid, unjustly charged with killing an officer, facing the death penalty, and no-knock raid. So people can purchase the T-shirt and get exposed what's going on with that. But all the documents on here that Marvin has sent me, and also that I got from Clay Ford, who was a former writer.
Yeah,
he's the crime reporter for the Clean Day Herald, who was run out of town by the police.
I interviewed him. I interviewed him on the radio.
Yeah, I interviewed him as well, and he told me all about what happened.
Yes.
And he's the one who actually sent me Marvin's entire case file.
Okay.
And Marvin kept telling me about Clay Thorpe, so I did my own research, and I found out where he's located.
Yes.
I got in touch with him, and he was like, okay, I'm happy to help you, but I just need to hear from Marvin that it's okay for me to release his case file to you.
Right.
I said, great. So Marvin, the next time Marvin and I spoke, I recorded a video. I had Marvin record a message telling Clay it was okay, so he released it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Then he and I eventually connected, and we did that interview. But that case file, this is where you'll read the police report, starting on page 210 to 11 to the end of the document, and it's page 336. And you will read the police admitting that this was a no-knock raid. Okay.
Yes.
You have let me see what I wrote here. You have Jonathan Reinhart, Pamela Asma, Raul Montez, among others, admit that it was a no-knock raid.
Right.
But at the same time, you have officers like Zachary Akers and several others who said that they heard that either they or others said killeen, police search warrant, or police search warrant. So if it's a no-knock raid, there's a major discrepancy here. So if it's a no-knock raid, the purpose of a no-knock raid is so that you don't alert the person you're raiding to your presence. You're not going to knock. You're not going to announce yourself. So on the one hand, Pamela Asma talked about how there was a double briefing, regarding two no-knock raids they were supposed to be conducting on the same street, one for Marvin, one for another gentleman. And then Jonathan Reinhart admitted to that as well, that they were in a briefing at 4:30 a.m. The KPD, the KPD SWAT team, as well as BOCUS, they were there for a briefing about the no-knock raid on Marvin's place, and yet you have officers like Zachary Akers and others saying they announced themselves. So there's a serious discrepancy here. On top of that, I want to say, in addition to that, the police interviewed a number of the neighbors. And some of the neighbors acknowledged that they heard the police identify themselves, but they said different things. They didn't hear police search warrant. They heard one woman named Helen Mack heard police. Well, according to Zachary Akers, whenever the police announce themselves, they say police search warrant. They're trained to say police search warrant and nothing else. But now you have a neighbor who claims that they heard the police say police. That's different than police search warrant, okay? And it's not a small discrepancy in my mind. So they heard that. But most of the neighbors admitted on record that they heard shouting. They couldn't make out what they were hearing. And then they heard shots fired. Now, what I believe they heard, and again, I'm not an expert, but I'm just giving my opinion, there were some of the police in this police report that the various police reports that said that they yelled shots fired because Marvin was shooting from inside the apartment. I believe that's what they heard.
Right.
I don't believe that when they're saying they heard shouting that they heard the police announce themselves. I believe they heard shots fired, and then then they responded with shots. And it would have been much easier for them to hear the police shoot than Marvin shoot, because some of the police officers even admitted they didn't initially know what was going on when they heard Marvin shooting. They didn't realize it was Marvin shooting. That in fact they heard what sounded like firecrackers. It threw them off. So if they had a hard time making out Marvin shooting from inside the apartment, you can only imagine that the neighbors who were a distance away wouldn't have heard that. Especially if there's a lot of commotion going on outside of his apartment with them doing what they were doing.
Right.
But we had one neighbor, I do want to mention this, it was, actually two neighbors, they're a couple, the Guadalupes, who said that they heard the KPD outside of Marvin's apartment at 5:15 a.m. on May 9th, 2014. And they claim they heard the police say, police. But the problem with that is that according to Officer John Mosley, he's actually the first police officer that gives a statement in Marvin's case file. So on page 210, 211, around there, you'll read Officer Mosley, he's the first one. And he said that at 5:15 a.m., the police were doing a pre-raid surveillance of Marvin's apartment. So they rode by and they saw that the lights were off in Marvin's apartment, that there was no movement. And so how could they be possibly, so again, there's another discrepancy. How could they be at his house that early yelling police if they were doing a pre-raid surveillance? So I'm just pointing out several discrepancies. And I know that people can say, well, these are neighbors, these are civilians, they don't know what they're talking about. But I can tell you, if that's me, and anyone else, you'll know if people are out there saying or doing that stuff. If there's that type of commotion at that time of the morning when it's relatively quiet, there shouldn't be that type of discrepancy between what the neighbor says and what the police testify to. So consistently in the police reports, what you're reading is that they had a briefing at 4:30 in the morning. Then you had the SWAT team go first to Marvin's place, then Bocus and the KPD, the regular KPD. And they didn't get there until around between 5:40 and 5:50, okay? And yet you have several, and again, the consistent message, the consistent theme among the neighbors is that they heard yelling, they heard shouting, it sounded like arguing, and then they heard shots fired. Now, there was a discrepancy between each witness, between how many shots were fired, what was said, what took place, and it's crazy to me because even though they're not trained like the police are, you're going to, whatever happened, you should hear it, right?
Right.
You're not the one who's been traumatized. You're not the one that, like Marvin or Shirley, who's been traumatized. So you should be, whatever they said, if they actually said police, you would have heard that. So I don't know where that person is getting it, if they're even telling the truth. Because I'll be completely honest, I think the police are lying through their teeth. They've scapegoated Marvin, and he is an easy target because he's poor and he's black. Plain and simple, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very sad. They can get away with this because of that. Because if you look at it, his civil rights were violated in this process when they arrested him. And so based on the police report, And based on Marvin's testimony that you'll see in the police report, and I encourage people to check it out, based on what Clay told me during the interview as well, what happened is Marvin thought that there were people after him, not the police.
Right.
He thought there were bad guys after him. He saw a car parked outside of his, down the street, a brown vehicle, I believe, down the street and outside, and he was concerned about that. So that night he felt something bad was going to happen. He didn't think it was going to be the police raiding his apartment, and so when the police came and they did this no-knock raid and they broke the window, okay, that's what woke him up.
Right.
When they did the rake and break or the break and rake on the window.
Yes.
Okay, the glass and then raking it away. That woke him up. His first instinct was to defend himself because he thought someone was trying to break in and hurt him and Shirley.
Yes.
What did he do? He shoots at them.
That's what
as soon as they returned fire, he threw his weapons down, ran to the back of the apartment, and that's when he was confronted by the police and realized, okay, this is the police light because of the flashlights they were using. And so that's when he was abused by them.
Yes.
Police brutality took place. The way they arrested him was completely unjust, which is a violation of his civil rights. Officers exercised an undue or excessive force against him, and he's been in prison or in jail for 6 years.
Yes,
so
yes.
Due process has been violated. He hasn't enjoyed the right to a speedy and public trial
True.
by an impartial jury of his peers.
Right.
That has been completely denied to him. To me, they violated his Fourth Amendment right. Illegal search and seizure, no illegal search and seizure. They did that. Just the no, and in Killeen, and I could be wrong about this, but I read that they ended the practice of the no-knock raid.
No.
Because of how violent it is.
No.
So,
that's not true.
Okay, it's not true. Okay.
No, it's not true.
That is not true. But in Houston, I believe in Houston, I read an article about how in Houston they've ended it. That may be not true. Houston did end theirs because of because of something. Killeen has not ended theirs yet, but I'm gonna have to cut you off because it's almost the end of my show. Okay, now I just want people to check out his website,
okay,
marvinlguy.com, and his Facebook page, and go from there and do what you can to help Marvin because he's innocent.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so we heard from Pastor Nick. So now we also know today that I'm putting him on the spot too. I have y'all know that. Because, see, it's fun to put people on the spot because I have the mic and I can do it. And it's my show, so I can do that. That's the fun part about the show. So Garrett is going to devise something that we're going to do. Please don't march because marching doesn't do any good. Marching is the 60s thing.
Yeah,
it was good in the 60s.
We ain't doing no marching.
And it was good in the 70s to march. But this is not, so we don't know. We don't want to march no more. So you're going to devise something that we're going to do.
Okay.
And I will assist you. And I'm going to continue my letter writing campaign to the sheriff's office.
Yes.
I'm having fun with that because he doesn't realize that it's a button called send. And I can just send away and forever until I get on his nerves because he can't arrest me because it's my right to do that. And his right is to answer my questions. So you're going to devise something that we can all do. And I will ramp up what I put on Facebook.
Okay.
And so can you. And because the more you put out there, the more people kind of get it into their head.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do more. I'm gonna do more. I just owe it to him to do more. I'm looking at all this here, and
I got one.
I've done a lot.
I got one out of the way question.
Go ahead.
Has he been tested for the virus?
Who?
Your brother.
I don't know.
Ooh, we need to find out. Because prisoners are catching.
And I heard there's a high risk in there, too.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because they can't go nowhere. I mean, it's not like, go over to this room and quarantine yourself. It doesn't.
I'm going to ask him. Next time I talk to him, I'll ask him.
Yes,
I'm going to ask him.
Yeah, because he is in a high risk. Because he's not in the best of health right now.
Yeah, but I heard that test.
It's more than one test.
Ooh, that test. I heard they put that thing in your nose and it go all the way to your lungs.
It's more than that. There's more tests than that one. That's like the worst of all. But the other one, they can check your arms.
Oh,
They can,
really?
they can take the blood from you, and they can also test that way. So, yeah, don't
Okay.
don't lay on the floor on that one. But I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, no problem.
And when you get ready to have this plan together, come back and let us know what we all need to do, because we can't tell people.
Certainly will.
You can't just say go do something.
Yep.
Because then people get crazy, and then some people don't do anything because they didn't get a direction.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm going to do more. And I'll be letting you know. I'm going to let you know.
So that we can raise Cain. And I'm good at not listening to people. So if Marvin tells me not to do anything, I'm not going to listen. I'm going to let him know up front. I have a hard time listening to people. And because if I think I should do something, I'm gonna do it.
Well, I don't, and I just don't want to do anything to hurt his case, But you're
6
right.
years.
But you're right. You're right. I think something needs to be done. I got to do something.
Because if you do nothing, then you've done something for them.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right,
When you do nothing,
right.
then they see, he ain't doing nothing.
Right.
So,
right.
I can push him in this. Incidentally, everybody needs to know Marvin is now in a wheelchair, in case you didn't know. But if he does, if I know nobody cares about you, then I can do whatever I want because I know nobody cares. But the minute they get a bunch of letters at the sheriff department, email the sheriff. Incidentally, yes, I email the sheriff because I want to know how much money have we spent on Marvin in 6 years. You might think that's a crazy question, but it's not. Because it's money that our county is willing to spend to keep somebody somewhere. That's a lot of money to be mean.
You're right.
So, and he's taking a long time giving me this answer because, I broke it down. I want to know how much we cost for his shoes, socks, underwear, the little jumpsuit thingy. I asked her everything. I want to break down everything. Yes, I did that because just to be mean, because I know it's hard to get that information. I know it's hard. I don't care, but I'm asked for it because I'm a taxpayer. And we all pay for him sitting there.
Right.
I disagree with him sitting there, and I'm paying for it, and he just sitting there. Not to say he likes it, he doesn't. But the point is, we're paying for this.
That's right.
We're actually paying for you to punish somebody. We're paying for the county and the police department to punish somebody. And with no trial, we're paying for this happily because we're happy because we're not doing nothing about it. So we must be happy paying it. But just think how much money we've spent. And his brother was like, does it cost a lot of money? Yes, it costs because we want to know how much all those meals cost. We want to know everything, how much it costs. And so every week I'm sending the sheriff the same email, open records request. I send it to him every week. I know he knows my name by now. He probably knows who I am, just whatever. But I don't care because I'm a taxpayer and I deserve answers. And as far as Marvin's case is concerned, we're taxpayers. We don't work for them. They work for us. They work for us. They're elected officials. You work for us. The sheriff is an elected official.
That's right.
You work for us. Garza's an elected official. They work for us. The police department, they work for us. We don't work for them. We need to remember that.
That's right.
So we need to hold these people accountable. Now the chief, we can't hold Kimball accountable because he wasn't here. So we can't hold him accountable for anything.
He was on the force, though.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't even here.
He wasn't there?
He wasn't even he's not from Texas.
Oh.
You have one officer, and I'll tell you off the show, you have one officer that is there who is on Marvin's side. You have one. Well, you might have more than one, but I do know one. So we actually have one that's actually on his side, actually ready to do what he needs to do. You have one.
Who is that?
I can't tell you on the line. Everybody will hear me on the show. And we don't want that.
And they would target him at work. And they get him up out
and then
of
he knows me, so he would. Why did you say that? I'm
Yeah,
like,
you're right. You're right.
Whatever.
You're
So
absolutely right.
I'll let you know after the show is over
Okay, yeah.
who he was, who he is, and you'll go. Oh, okay. So Marvin does have a friend that I know of in the police department, and he served in a very good position, but he is on Marvin's side.
Okay, that's good
So
news.
we
That's
can't
good
say
news.
all the police aren't on
That's
his
good
side.
news.
But he's the only one that I know that actually told me that he is on his side. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, we need more people to step up and do the right thing, and have integrity and integrity over stupidity and over just covering for your buddy.
But if nobody leads, nobody gonna do anything.
You're right. We I gotta start doing my part, doing a little bit more. So I will do that.
Okay.
It's been 6 years. I can't sit by anymore.
And if we sit there, we agree. When we're quiet, we agree. When we're
Right.
complacent, we agree. With all the shootings of these black men, we don't say nothing, we agree.
You know, but I'm listening to Marvin too. Marvin saying, "Hey, bro, I don't want you to get involved." But you know,
You're his
I
brother,
got you.
you're involved.
I got you.
You're involved by birth. I mean,
You know, when Pastor Nick got more information than I do, then you know, I got to do more.
I know, because you're like, wait,
I got to do more.
How you get that?
And you know, as I was going through some of this, I remember a whole lot of this. And the first year or two, I was deeply into it.
Right.
And I was doing so much. I made that book, and I got so many handwritten notes on there. But yeah, I got to get back to that. Got to get back to that and doing more to free my brother.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for coming on this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
And you'll be back when you let us know what we're going to be doing.
Certainly will.
Because we need to do what we got to do right and not, mess it up. And the Innocence Project, you'll be getting them a letter.
Yes.
And you'll write the letter, and then Marvin will write his letter, and y'all put them together, and you send it to them,
Correct,
and then they give him an answer and tell them what they're going to do. Civil Rights Projects, you can send one to them, but the Innocence Project works better.
Okay.
And
Well, thank you so much for having me.
hey, always, I'm, like I said, you might not never. It might be a couple of years you don't hear it, like, but I haven't forgotten.
No, I appreciate everything. Thank you for having me on. Thank you.
Like I said, we need to do something. So I want to thank everyone for listening to the show this morning. Hope you learned a lot. Hope you, got your boots on and you're ready. Not to walk, you just need them on. And we need to always get the word out there. We can't let people forget. And least of all, we can't forget, because as we forget, it happens again. The more we forget, the more it's going to happen, because we forgot. And the more we sit on our butts, the more things are going to happen. And black men, you need to really step out there, because your lives are in danger more than ours. You have to worry about, are you going to come home tonight and get back in your bed? You do, because you don't know whether you will or not. Your intent is, but somebody else's intent might not be. So, black men, you need to step up too. Don't let us step up. Don't let us women step up for you, because if you don't, we will, and we'll continue going on. And you'll be sitting at home trying to figure out, how did they do that? And we will. So, like I said, I want to thank everyone for listening to Kids Community Connections this morning. I want you to always remember, you cannot lead a positive life with a negative mind. We'll talk to you next Sunday.